In this week's Weekly Scoop, I share with the EBnet community my thoughts behind some of the comments I've made in my daily newsletter, the interesting articles and interviews we've published across our platforms, and the more exciting things we can look forward to as an industry in the upcoming days and weeks. This week quite literally started with a bang. We all came back to work on Monday morning and were greeted with the news that Donald Trump had instituted military action against Iran. This had profound consequences for investment markets both around the world and locally, particularly when it came to things like oil prices, where we had a number of very well-known economists comment on EBnet around their predictions and views of the long-term and short-term implications of really what I think two words that we are becoming bored of in 2025, uncertainty and volatility, and how this was going to impact our investments. And my mind was immediately drawn to the thoughts and actions of our retirement fund members and our individual investors. And a comment that Sean Neertling made from Morningstar in an article which we published that day was, and I paraphrase, something along the lines of, don't make knee-jerk responses or don't have knee-jerk responses to sensationalist news. It really struck me when I read that comment how important it is for investors and retirement fund members to have financial advisors. For those of you who don't know, I am an accredited financial advisor, and yet I have a financial advisor of my own. Really someone to keep me on track and to make sure that I behave in a disciplined way when it comes to my money so that I can meet my goals in the long term. Financial advisors are quite topical right now in our industry. As an industry, we grapple with things like customization and personalization of benefits and investments, and meeting members right where they are with the specific need that they have at that particular moment in time. And so financial advice and individual financial advice becomes a lever that I think the industry is looking to pull in order to translate value to members and retirement fund members specifically. If I look at some of the research on financial advisors, this week saw Alan Gray's Advisor Barometer drop into first place on EBnet's publication podium, accompanied by an article written by Alan Gray summarizing some of the findings. If there's one thing you check on EBnet in the next few days, go and have a look at the publications podium and take a moment to read the full Alan Gray report, where you'll see some of the latest thinking on advice models, on business models, things like what is the sweet spot in terms of the number of advisors per number of clients in your business, and then things around fee models. Are we charging on our customary assets basis, or should we be looking at professional advice-based fees, and the number of financial advisors who are making those decisions. A very interesting read. Other interesting conversations that I've had this week comes to mind is the conversation I had with Nzwa Shoniwa, who is the managing executive of Sanlam's Umbrella Solutions. To be fair, I did hijack Nzwa's lunch at the recent Benchmark Symposium, and we cobbled together a studio in the Sandton Convention Center and had a chat around the Benchmark's findings on umbrella funds, and really where the latest thinking is when it comes to umbrella funds and some of the challenges that these funds face. You can find that interview on our Umbrella Hub. If you go look at the notice board and you click on the link, you can have a listen to that. As I say, forgive the cobbled together studio in a back room of the Sandton Convention Center, but the point was made. An interesting conversation that I also had this week was our exec meet and greet with Imran Mohammed, who is the CEO of the Actuarial Society of South Africa. I ask all actuaries, do you like big sums? And no spoiler alert, you'll have to go and listen to his answer to that. But jokes aside, it's a good conversation around the role of actuaries in the future in an environment that is now dominated by defined contribution funds, and what the Actuarial Society's view is of the future of actuaries and the future role that they can play in our industry. While we're talking about great conversations, a highlight of the week for me definitely was my conversation with Nonkululeko Pitje, who is the CEO of Discovery's employee benefits business. In our live webinar today, our executive encounter, she shared some of her thoughts around her leadership journey, her thoughts around why she chooses to work for the employer she chooses to work for, and some of the more personal experiences that she's had, both as a mother and as an executive in our industry. A great conversation. I'm sure the link will be dropped on our website in the coming day or so, and you can go and check that out. Other interesting things behind the scenes for the EBnet team. We've been working on the upcoming Evolutionaries conference for this year, which is happening in the first week of October. You can put a diary note in there. The theme for this year's conference is AI and tech in the retirement funds industry, and that including benefits and investments. And our conference, as you know, is completely virtual. And what that means is you as a delegate can attend the conference, listen to the speaker content that you're interested in, visit the stands that you're interested in, and the most fun is voting for your favorite evolutionary. What is an evolutionary, I hear you say? Well, evolutionaries are those individuals or businesses in our industry who challenge the status quo, who ask questions outside the box, and who put together solutions that move the dial for the average South African and for investors at large. And every year we have an Evolutionary Awards. This year it's across 6 categories, and you can go and read up about those. And we profile those in our conference, and we get delegates to vote. So that's a very exciting piece of work we kicked off this week, and we're starting to put together content for you on that. And speaking of AI, made me think about I think we had more than 2 or 3 articles this week on AI and its impact on our industry. But top of mind for me is Nolwaze Hlopi from the FSCA and her thinking around how AI can improve the governance and security within the retirement fund space. You can go and have a read of that. And in the same newsletter for that day, you'll see another article around how AI is increasing risk, the risk of fraud with the usage of deep fakes, etc. And so we are living in interesting times, and AI is changing the world around us, and it's changing the world around us quicker than we can keep up. And so this is a conversation I'm sure we'll be having more of in the weeks and months to come. Thanks again for your support this week. Keep your comments and your ideas and your feedback coming through our various platforms, and I look forward to catching up with you next week.